Well, good evening. Appreciate you joining us this evening here on today's episode of the Fireplace Show. And today we're going to step out of indoors and we're going to go into the outdoors. You know, as spring's coming in, this is when living in our backyards and improving our backyards and entertaining in our backyards becomes a really big thing for everybody across America. So tonight I've got a really special guest for you on here as we step into the world of outdoors. And we're going to be talking about outdoor kitchens. We're going to talk design and we're going to talk safety. And we're also going to talk about fire pits. And we're going to talk about outdoor fireplaces. We may even go into outdoor wood-fired ovens, pizza ovens, as you know. So here's what you want to do. Stay tuned. I'll be right back and I'll introduce you to tonight's guest here on the Fireplace Show. So welcome back with me. I appreciate you being here. And let me introduce you to tonight's guest because this lady is a very special lady. And she is one of the most renowned experts in the United States when it comes to the world of outdoor living, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, fire pits. She's a manufacturer. She is a designer of outdoor cabinetry. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So our special guest here is a lady by the name of Sheryl Isenhour. And Sheryl is the CEO and the owner and the chief designer. And basically, she makes it all happen at a company called IBD Outdoor Rooms. So good evening, Sheryl. How you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing super. So
Okay.
how you are?
That is fantastic. So let's start out. There's some people that are tuning in that I'm sure they may know you, but at the same time, there's probably a lot of people that don't. So why don't we tell them a little bit about how you got into the outdoor room industry and how you got with where you're at today with a company by the name of IBD Outdoor Rooms.
Well, about 20 plus years ago, Jerry owned a company called the Fireplace. And at the Fireplace, we saw a lot of grills. And then all of a sudden, one day, the built-in grills started coming out and we started selling those. And as people would purchase them, they would come in and say, well, what do I put them in? So instead of them having to find someone else to do it, we had a full crew there. We had masons, we had everything we needed. So in the lower level of a building, way too small, we started getting things together. And our guys would go out and construct them on site. Well, the demand got more and more. And then one day we went to a trade show and we had a good friend of ours with us. His name was Ken Warren. And before the trade show, Ken said, I think you've got a product. And it's like, no, we don't. So he literally offered us up a position in his booth. And said, well, you just come on to this landscape show and set up one of your islands. Now, we don't do finished islands. We do just the studdage on the inside and the hardy board. And then it's shipped to a dealer base. So we took our naked island, as we call it, and took it and put it in the trade show. And for 3 days, we had people as far back as we could see wanting to get into our booth, actually to the point that the guy next to us wanted to know if we were coming back next year. And, we were really excited. And we said, sure, we'll be back. I said, you coming back? He said, yeah, but I just wanted to know. I didn't want to be in the booth beside you because nobody saw my stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got started. And 1 by 1 and 10 by 10, it just grew and grew.
Okay, so that's where you're at. And I believe that was back, what year, Sheryl? Do you remember the year that you went to that? I believe that was the Atlanta Flower Show where you had your first showing to other people with the IBD product.
That was in late 1990 something, early 2000.
Yeah. And as you went through this, all of a sudden you started catching the attention of people in other parts of the country that wanted to start using the same designs, the same products, those type of things across the country. So part of this was you actually did training for dealers across the United States. I think at times we had as many as 90 people that would come in for a 2-day training back in those days. You remember those days?
Oh, I remember those days well. That was before the day of the internet. So
Yeah.
come out anything. I mean, it was long enough to go that it's hard to remember all the details sometimes of what we did.
Yeah. So in outdoor living and outdoor kitchen, Sheryl, how do people finish these islands? What's the leading exterior look in an outdoor kitchen today? What do people choose to do that finish work with?
That's completely regional. I mean, we here in North Carolina, we're in the brick country here in the state that I'm in. A lot of people here do them with brick. And now I'm a stone purist. So my preference is to do them with natural stone. Many of them are done with cultured stone or man-made stone, depending on the area you live in, what you call it. Stucco, granitec, Ameristone. There's endless things. We use planks at times, hardy board planks or actual natural wood. But with those, there's some restrictions, and we'll get to those later if you're using natural wood.
Okay. So do y'all do design work there? How does it work if somebody was to order an outdoor kitchen for you? I mean, is there just set models, or how does your system work?
Well, I'm a very simple girl. Let's put it that way. So what we do, our dealer can send us in, our dealer can just send us in a little hand drawing, give us an idea of the product that he wants in it, the amount of footage that he has to put it on. And if they have a layout they want, or they've got an idea, they can kind of sketch that in, and we do simple line drawings. I don't use AutoCAD. So it makes it easier to change. The way we do it's easier to change, and it's all that my guys really need to build by. So we do the simple line drawings. We send them and the quotes back, and at that point, there's a sign-off period. When they sign off, we do our best to turn them around within 2 weeks.
Okay. So what about shapes? You just build them straight, or what kind of shape can someone get an island into? I mean, you probably traditionally think of an outdoor kitchen being something that's straight. So when y'all build outdoor kitchens, what are you limited in the shapes that you can build these out of? What are people's choices there?
Actually, in 20 plus years, I've never been asked to build something that we couldn't build. We build straight, we build L shapes, we build triangular shapes, U shapes. One of the largest ones I've ever done was 58 foot of island. That was in a U shape. And some are small. It just depends on the people's budgets and what they're wanting. But there's unlimited. And we learned years ago how to bend hardy board without scoring it. So we can build curved islands. We can build them. We follow pool copings. We follow decking, whatever anybody wants. At this point, I haven't found a shape, knock on wood, that we could not build.
Okay, so shapes are pretty well unlimited, and you build islands 58 foot long. Just think, I mean, that's a pretty big island right there. You said that was a U-shaped island?
It was a U-shaped island. It was huge. And this was not commercial. This was in a gentleman's backyard.
Okay. Do people buy more than one island to go into their backyard, Sheryl?
Many times. A lot of times you don't have room for something huge like that. So, in fact, we catted up 2 different ones today, or drew up. I'll use the word drew because a lot of people might not know what cat is. We drew up for 2 different clients today where they had a shaped island, be it an L or a U on one side, and then they had a small, just a little straight island on the other for bar dining. So sometimes I've had 3 and 4 in one yard. It depends on the amount of footage you got to put it on, and again, your budget.
Okay. So what about appliances? I mean, part of this is when you think of an outdoor kitchen, you're probably thinking of a grill. But what's What's this range of appliances that you have built designs for to house in these outdoor kitchens?
We've done them from very simple grills and products up to $10,000 grills. So it's what, again, as long as I know the product that's going in it, we can fit it to it. It would come to you cut and ready to put your product, put your finishes on and put your product in. There's no unlimited things. Again, that goes to whether you want a less expensive grill or you want a grill that's going to be there for a long time. Always remember that when you do a built-in grill, a hole's a hole. And if that grill goes bad, you need to be able to have a manufacturer that can get you a grill the same size to put back in that hole.
So when we talk, and a lot of people talk of 36-inch grills or maybe a 24-inch grills, are grills something that the sizing is common between manufacturers, or does it vary from manufacturer to manufacturer? You know, if you look at an indoor kitchen and you have a 30-inch range, they're all 30 inches, and usually refrigerators are all a certain dimension, and people know how to build the house to accept that appliance. Is the same true in grills going into an outdoor kitchen?
No, not by far. We have many times we'll have a client tell me, I want a 36-inch grill. Now, without knowing the size, we can, for the first drawing, we can draw in a 36-inch length hole. But 36 inches grills, the ones that we work with, range anywhere from 32 inches to 38 inches. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but if it goes from 36 to 38 and you don't have those 2 extra inches to work with, that's bad, because you've got to have enough distance between your product. And you also have to have enough studs in there to hold your product very sturdy. So the thing about it is, when you say 36-inch grill, you're probably not going to get a 36-inch grill.
Okay. Now, I asked a while ago about appliances, and what I meant by that, what kind of appliances do people specify in an outdoor kitchen besides the grill? Because many times there's a multitude of other appliances. What are some of the other appliances that you commonly would design into an outdoor kitchen?
Now I understand. Refrigerators, sinks, bar caddies, margarita stands, side burners, doors, drawers, cabinetry of anything you want, any kind, whether it be concealed or whether it just be open product, paper towel holders. It goes on and on. Pizza ovens, trying to think of everything that goes in. There's no way. Right now, people are coming up with dishwashers in them. So it's basically anything you want in there. Ice makers.
Yeah. And there's also warming drawers that can act as ovens, other things like that. Am I right?
Yes.
And
I mean, they're too hard to this. It's really hard to sit here and just rattle them all off because there are so many products out there now.
yeah, got you covered. So on that, so one of the popular things that a lot of people love to cook on is what's called a Kamado Grill, which could be a Primo, it could be a Big Green Egg, it could be a barbecue guy's Kamado, a Blaze Kamado. There's a lot of different Kamado grills on the market, and these use charcoal. So do you build many of the Kamado grills into your cabinetry?
I would say about 80% of the product we send out has a Kamado cut into it of one brand or the other. We also construct islands, smaller islands that are made just for a Kamado grill. Maybe a Kamado grill, a drawer, a cutting board, a few things like that. With a lot of people put them in with nothing but a Kamado grill.
Okay. And then you talked about side burners, but one thing I didn't hear you talk about was a power burner. Is power burner something that's popular? And let's tell people, what is a power burner? What does it do?
Nowadays, your power burner, it's a 50,000 BTU burner. It is it's much larger than just the regular side burner. You can put the huge cook pots on it. We put a lot of those in, and a lot of them go in for people that are going to do crab legs or anything that they need in a huge pot. And we drop it down lower so you can actually see into the pot. and they go with it. I mean, you can cook on it anything else, you can cut it down, but the other burners you can't cut up that high, so you have superior heat in these.
Okay, so let's talk about your manufacturing process. I mean, you said the word stud a while ago. So are you building these out of the studs that you would go down to a big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, or Menards and buy these studs? Is that what your people do? And then cut them up and rivet them together and screw them together? What kind of construction do you have underneath your cabinetry?
We make all our studs ourselves. We make them from flat metal. We have breaks and shears that we cut the metal with, and we build it, bend them to our specifications. That way I know how they're built. I know they're good and sturdy. They interlink well. They make a good rigid frame. But no, I don't buy store-bought studs.
So are they screwed together? Well, how do we connect these studs together, Sheryl?
Basically, 99% of them we use spot welding, but we do have to screw some together. If you use stainless steel, you have to use screws. You can't spot weld those. But basically, the majority of them are spot welded.
Okay, go ahead.
And then after we get all that done, when we apply our hardy board, that's our outdoor, or that's our outside area. I don't particularly, my preference, I don't like perma board because it's too heavy. That's why we use hardy board. And two, I can manipulate hardy board much better. But I go one step farther. You don't have to glue this to the studs before you screw it, but I do, because you've got that extra little sense of security. If the screw would happen to pop, the glue's there, or vice versa. So we add a little bit to it that you won't get in the standard completely built islands in a lot of the other places.
Okay, so a lot of people, a lot of times, they're going to build an island, that base underneath it, and they're going to use treated lumber or possibly untreated lumber. So what's the problem with using lumber as that framework for that island? What's my problem here if I do that?
Well, there's actually several problems. Number one problem, wood rots. And you're outside. You cannot make a totally water secure island. And so if you've got the wood studs over a period of time, they will rot. Or they will, on the other hand, if you build them out of wood and the wood dries out and then you have a spark off your grill, it's very easy to catch them on fire. I mean, I've seen pictures from expert witnesses where the wood, if the grill backfired or blew up or whatever was going on that day, and it actually caught them on fire, and your island burns.
Okay, so whenever we're going through that, the wood's actually going through a process of pyrolysis, where it will actually have enough temperature transferred over where that wood will lower itself to where it will catch on fire. And you've seen these incidents occur. Am I correct?
I have, and it's not a pretty sight.
Right. So manufacturers, don't they make something that you would put into a wood island if you're going to use wood, or even if you're going to face it with wood? Don't they have something that you would buy to put that grill into?
You can. It's called an insulation sleeve. A lot of the grills now will sell the insulation sleeves alone, or they sell the grill with the sleeve on. It adds about $300 to $400 to the cost of the island, but then you can put it in a wood structure. But the only thing about it is they don't make it for every hot product. They make it for the grill, but they don't make it for some of the other products. So you have to be real careful when you start building something out of wood.
Got you covered. So let's deal with a few safety issues that come up. One of the things is you have a Facebook page that it has about 17,000 people on there across America and across the world. And often you see things that are happening. What are some of the biggest safety hazards that you see that consumers are not aware of, that they need to be aware of with their outdoor kitchens?
Build them out of wood, number one. The main one, though, I think, is lack of ventilation. They do not ventilate their islands. There's nowhere for the gas to escape. If something were to go wrong, there's nowhere for the moisture to escape. That's some of the hazards, the way they're wired. Just people have got to realize you are outside. There are more safety precautions that you have to take out there. A lot of times we'll see the wiring laying on a concrete floor instead of being wrapped up where it doesn't reach things. So it's you again, it's just a really simple fix if you think about it. Just think about it. If you think about anything that can go wrong, it can.
Okay. So when you talk about ventilation, what does the ventilation do? What's the purpose? You're talking about ventilation. Why is the lack of ventilation a potential safety issue?
Okay, if a gas, especially if you've got an LP and you've got a bottle in there, the bottle can leak. Your gas grill can leak. Anything gas can leak in there. If you've got the ventilation, a lot of time, the gas has got somewhere it can escape. If you don't, then this gas is going to build up inside. And if your grill would happen to spark, I've actually seen it blow the grills completely out of the housings and actually across the yard. There's a huge force when there's no ventilation. Now, the ventilation that we put in, we have a formula that we compute the amount of ventilation. Our vents all have 18 inches of square air coming in at all times. They're placed above and below every 6 foot or less, and more if there's extra gas in there, because we want the gas to get out.
So the purpose of ventilation is so air can flow through the cabinetry, and if we have a gas leak, then that's going to carry the gas on out where it doesn't build up and residual enough to have an explosion or cause a fire. Am I correct on that?
You are correct. And it also carries out the moisture. That way things don't mildew and mold in your islands. You are again outside, so moisture is going to get in there. So there's several things you need to vent it with. You need your vents to get it out. You need weep holes under the low end if you're not on to let the water out, because water will get in. And without that, you can get the odor can start up, and everybody wonders where's the odor coming from, and they're thinking it's coming from the grill, and it's actually coming from the interior of their cabinets.
Okay, so lack of ventilation means the moisture gets trapped, foods may drop down through there, other things. So what you're telling me is that without ventilation, not only is it a safety hazard, it can actually cause a lot of bad odors coming out from underneath your island. Would that be correct?
That is true. And it keeps a lot of the insects out too, because you've got fresh air going in and out, so you don't seem to have some of the certain insects that get in there that thrive on mold and mildews.
Okay, so here's your next question. What about clearance? I mean, if somebody wants to put a outdoor kitchen right up against it, right against a vinyl wall that probably has wood behind it, or possibly wood siding or something that's combustible, is there a clearance for that grill from that wall?
Every manufacturer has their own clearances. So that they can vary anywhere from 4 inches up to, I have seen 18 inches from a wall. The reason for that is your grill produces heat. If you've got vinyl on the wall, and we've all seen it right behind the grill, the wall starts to melt and wafer up behind there, so that you need a non-combustible behind any heat product. So with the clearances, you've got less chance of that happening. But with the grill manufacturers, if you don't follow their clearances and something happens, your warranty is not valid at that point.
Okay. Also, a big consideration would be it's raining and it's going to rain on my kitchen, or the sun's bearing down. So when we have a roof structure over a outdoor kitchen, over a grill, over a side burner, over a Kamado Grill, is that a problem? Or can you have a roof over these appliances?
You can have a roof, but you have to have a ventilation hood above them to get, number one, the smoke out. A lot of states now have made it a requirement that any island that there's a heat product in, and it has a roof over it. And by roof, that can go anywhere from a tarp to a full roof. As if it has a cover, it has to have a hood to draw out the smoke.
Okay, so we got to have a hood over it just like you would in your indoor kitchen. So that way, if there's a flare up, it's going to be contained inside of the hood instead of going up and catching that roof structure on fire. Am I correct?
Correct. And there's, depending on the manufacturer, it's how far out the roof you need to take it or whatever. It's not just one that just circulates air. It's actually to extrude the air from, or extrude the gases and the air and the fire on up.
Okay, so we talked about some of the finished materials that could be on the side of the island. What about on top of the island? What type of materials do people choose for their countertops on top of that island?
The majority of what I see going in is granite. The second after that would be a poured concrete top. They do stone tops, a lot of tile. I'm not a marble fanatic outside because marble will turn colors much quicker than granite will. Be aware, everything outside is going to fade a little bit. I don't care if it's the best granite in the world, it's going to fade. It usually fades even and you won't notice it. Tile has to be outdoor tile. You cannot use an indoor tile, or about a year later, the color's completely gone. So there's restrictions to the top, but then if you want to keep your island looking good, you need to seal the top every so often, depending on the product you're doing, and it'll keep the life of it much longer.
Got you covered. So the best thing to do on the top is make sure you've got something that is fireproof, is non-combustible, and then to consult that person who's supplying the top to make sure it's going to stand up to the outside elements. And you may have to put some type of coating on this finished material to keep it from fading. What about if somebody spills a glass of red wine? Does that hurt granite?
Not new granite, but once granite dries out, you've got to remember granite's a stone. And once it lays, as long as it's in the ground, it has moisture. Once you take it out of the ground and cut it and put it out into the elements, then it starts to dry out. And unless you keep a sealant on it, it will get very porous. It'll get almost like a sponge after a while. And I have a lot of people that'll call and they say, "Oh my, I've spilt some red wine on my top. What do I do? How do I get it out?" And my answer is, if I were you, I'd buy some more bottles of red wine and stain the rest of it because it's not coming out.
So you want to stain the whole island top with red wine, huh?
Not the perfect way, but that's where you're headed.
Okay, got you covered. So other things that you build there at IBD Outdoor Rooms, a biggie for you is fire pit housings, I believe. Tell us about your fire pit housings.
We build fire pit houses in any size, any shape, round, square, double stacked. Build them where they look like teardrops. Anything anybody can imagine can be built. We ship out probably anywhere from 500 to 700 fire pits a year.
Okay. So, and are you using the same construction method with the welded steel frame that you're doing and all that whenever you build fire pit housings?
Everything's built the same way. It works for one and it works for the other. So we hand bend on our rounds because we're using flat metal. We hand bend all of our round for the exteriors for that. But then, the trick's being able to bend the hardy board to go around the fire pit. We probably send out more rounds than we do anything else because it's just a popular feature for people. But yeah, it's the same product. It's the same process and it's the same quality.
Okay. And then also you actually build fireplaces and ship them around the country also?
We do. We've got fireplaces in places you could not even imagine. We've got them on boat docks. We've got them hanging off the outside of mountains on the tripod things. We have them in commercial, residential. So yeah, we ship out, I think the tallest one I've ever shipped out, and we do ship them in sections. but the tallest one was like 22 foot tall and 80 some foot wide. So we shipped some very huge. We had to have a flatbed come in one day to haul one fire pit or one fireplace.
Really? That big, huh?
That big.
That's pretty amazing whenever you talk about that. Okay, another thing that I believe you make is what people would call a pizza oven or a wood-fired oven. How does this work? How do you build these particular, cabinetry?
Let me clarify. We don't build the oven. We build the housings. So we take you pick your manufacturer and the oven that you want, then the housings are built around them. Same method, just a lot stronger, because a lot of the pizza ovens, or wood-fired ovens as I prefer to call them, can weigh up to 800 to 900 pounds just for the interior unit. And so we have to do a lot of extra bracing in there because you definitely don't want them to fall through. Then a lot of people put wood boxes under them, cabinetry. Again, they're built the same way, just a little heavier.
Okay, got you covered. And then the who puts the oven into that housing, Sheryl?
I prefer to do it at the shop. I prefer them to send the oven to us and let us put it in there and case it in like we need to. It can be filled, put in, but what we'd do at that point, we'd have to leave a lot of the hardy board unglued for them to put it in the field, and then they'd have to glue it back and put the hardy board back on. But if we can put it in there, then we know it's exactly where it needs to be.
Okay. Now, another product you make that's not really for outdoor living is what we call a chimney chase. Tell everybody a little bit about the chimney chase. What's the purpose? I think you call them quick chases. So let's talk about that a little bit.
If you get out and ride around long enough and look at chimneys, which you get started after you work with them for a while, you do it a lot, you notice how many of them are deteriorated. And a lot of times they want to a neat housing look on the outside. So we can take that and build the chase out of the same product, and you just slide it down over it. Or if you've got a pipe sticking up that you don't like, you can put it over the pipe. It just makes it look like a finished chimney, and then you can finish it in stone, brick, stucco, whatever you like. But it just replaces the chimney chases that are on houses.
No. So, whole thing is, you have a pretty wide array of products. So, if someone was wanting to expand their outdoor living space, make it really nice, what are the things you would tell them to be looking for? Like, where are you going to put this? Other things. Why do I want a refrigerator in it? Why do I want an ice maker? Why do I want all these things? What goes through people's minds as they're going through this design phase?
Most of them start out with, I want a grill. And then they start realizing, but I can have this, and I can have this, and I can have this. So what you've got to think about is, number one, if you're going to put an ice maker or a sink in, you've got to remember you've got to have water. You got to have water in, you've got to have water out. You've got to, if you live, especially, you need to take the water back to your septic tank or to the city sewer to get it out. Another consideration is you've got to have gas, unless you're going to use charcoal. So you have to start thinking about the layout of where you're going to put things. Do I really need this? I mean, if your kitchen's like right there, you may not want a refrigerator. The refrigerators can get quite expensive if you get an outdoor refrigerator, which also has a heater in it to keep it level in the wintertime. So there's a lot of thought process. And a lot of times when we draw an island for people, we kind of hear out what they want, we lay it out, and then I'll adjust things because I'm a zone person. I like all my cooking in one area. I like all my cold stuff in another area. I like my prep area in a certain spot. And then I like my entertainment area on the part where if I have company, I can be doing my grill, and these people can still get to the refrigerator and the coolers and everything that they need to.
Okay. And there's Lynn. She's saying hello to us, Sheryl. That's a good friend of ours there. So, hey, appreciate you being on here, So,
Hi, Lynn.
yeah. So, Appreciate you being here tonight, Lynn. So again, Cheryl, if people wanted to get in touch or see your product line, I have put your website up on the screen. It is www.ibdodr.com. And also your email address is there. So people could contact you. Do y'all do just design work if people need a designer of their outdoor kitchen? Do you do that?
We do. We'll design that for you. We have no problem with that. We have several in-house designers that can work with you. We'll do that. We'll sell you if you just want designs, we'll do it that way. If you want to do your own exterior finish, we'll sell you just the frames. Or if you want the whole thing, we'll take it all the way to the hardy board on the outside, and then we put them on the skid and ship them to your area.
Okay, so you make product, which is what we will call ready to finish. And what that means when you ship it, it's ready to put the veneer materials and the top on that they would procure locally. What's the advantage of that versus shipping on them an island and having the stone on it, having the granite top on it, having the appliances all there? What's the advantage to the system that you've designed there at IBD?
Well, the main thing is I can get it on a truck, but the thing is, with the weight factor, can you get it off the truck, then off the skid to the position that you're going to do it? And so the thing is, it's the weight factor plus the damage factor. I don't know if anybody's ever shipped anything lately, but there's a lot of freight damage. Granite cracks, stone will split open a lot of times. So if you get it locally, number one, it's less expensive to get it locally than it is to pay the weight of the freight.
Okay, so so you're shipping an island. You talked about a 58-foot island, and I'm trying to imagine in my mind, how in the world do you get a 58-foot U-shaped island on a tractor trailer that's only 8 foot wide, Cheryl? That doesn't compute real good. So tell me how that works.
We actually try not to ship anything over 10 foot. Okay. A lot of them we cut them down to 6 or 8 foot. They're cut in sections. They're double stacked. That way you send them straight in. They go into a truck. We have had that island almost basically filled up a tractor trailer. I think we were 3/4 of the trailer. But with doing it that way, we can ship a pretty good size island in. It's not so bad. I mean, because I pay from the floor to the top on a truck anyway. It costs the same thing to send it single stacked as double. So it works out really well. And so we can, as long as I can cut the pieces less than 80 inches high or less than 10 foot, it's fairly simple ship.
So you ship it in pieces. How do they put the pieces together at the job site?
When my guys get done with framing them, then they are bolted together in the sheeting room. We sheet them with the bolts in. The reason we do that is so the hardy board fits really tight. It's not just, you just don't hack off each end and hope that it goes back together. Then the bolts are pulled out. They are shipped with the island. So when it gets on site, all the people have to do is take the pieces out, line them up, screw them together, and then at that point, then they want to shim up any lower areas. You want everything perfectly level before you start putting any finishes on it.
Okay. So when you say shim, what are they supposed to shim it up with? And when you say shims, I'm thinking pieces of wood, like you would buy, pieces of wood shim, little wedges. So what are they supposed to shim this up with to level it out?
You can shim them with the wood wedge, but it'll rot. We usually send out a big box of hardy board, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, and you can use that. That's what your island's made out of. We have some people that use pieces of concrete, just blocks, whatever they want to use. But we send something with every one of them to be able to level them up.
Okay, but now you're talking about using concrete board, hardy board on the ground underneath it. What keeps that hardy board from getting wet and falling apart?
I've had hardy board. I've got samples at my shop now that have been floating in water for 20 years and they're still intact.
So what you're telling me is water doesn't affect the hardy board.
It wets it, but it doesn't affect it.
So let me ask you the big one. You said a while ago, you can roll hardy board without scoring it. How you do that, Sheryl?
If I tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Okay.
We actually had the people from Hardy come down one day to see how we did it. And that I told him, I said, I'll show you anything else in the shop but that. It's not that hard to do. It's a time frame thing. And he asked me, he said, well, what could we buy it for? Or the information. I told him, I said, if you will replace all the hardy board that I've cracked over the years to learn how to do this, I'll tell you how to do it. And they never shipped me the bunches of hardy board that I needed.
Got you covered. So basically, that's a proprietary Sheryl formula. Now, you talked about brakes and shears. So you really got big old brakes and shears and you're, out there in your plant?
We do. Our product, just our manufacturing product, our pieces, I've probably got over $150,000, $200,000 worth of machinery that we have to use all across the area.
So probably you ain't got a lot of friends that have brakes and shears like you do. If you went out socially, you probably ain't got no other women that got their own hydraulic brakes and shears, do they?
No. A lot of women look at me like I'm some freak of nature a lot of times because I probably know more about construction than her husband would at times. And so, but it's the thing about it's a matter of having the knowledge. It's not because we're that smart. We've made every mistake that can be made. I've paid the tuition. So what we do is try to help people not make those mistakes. So that's kind of what that's what I strive to do. I try to make their life easier because I've done screwed it up.
Okay. And what about electric boxes, Sheryl? Is there anything that are we just using plastic boxes just like you use in a house? What are you doing as far as what the wiring goes through in these kitchens that you build? Because you got to have power run to them for lights and for other things a lot of times to power that refrigerator. So what do you do for your electrical in your islands?
We do outdoor listed receptacle boxes. We don't wire. I'm not an electrician, so we don't wire, but we do put the boxes in. Now, once the person gets it to where they're going, they're electricians, there's infinite numbers of covers. There are flip covers, there are horizontal covers, there's vertical covers, but we put in weather or outdoor listed boxes. So they are plastic, but they're extremely heavy and they're made to weather for years and years.
Okay, got you covered. So what about covers? Do people buy covers for their outdoor kitchens like they would put on a car, anything like that? Is there covers made for outdoor kitchens?
There are a lot of people. There's more now than there ever was. You used not to see them out there, but I don't have that many people doing it because most people, once they have an outdoor kitchen, it's a 12-month of the year thing that you use, unless you live in the extreme north. I mean, here where we live, we can use our grill 11 and a half months out of the year. So, are there covers? There are. Most people don't put them over them because they want to use it. That's we call it their staycation. They can have a vacation anytime they want by going out in their backyard. Actually, what you see behind me is my backyard.
Okay. But I don't see no outdoor kitchen out there. It looks like I see a bunch of lights.
It's over on the side.
So it's over on the side.
Yeah,
okay.
We're actually at this point, I'm having the top taken off and a granite top. We put tile on it because we were in a rush. We're having it pulled off. Actually, we had granite measured up today to put on it.
Okay, got you covered. So anything else you would advise people? Here's another question for you, just came up. What if somebody's got a portable grill and they're just in love with this thing? Can they use that in an outdoor kitchen, Cheryl?
It depends. It depends what kind of a portable grill it is. Many of them I can construct it in. You can't take the head and mount it like you would a built-in, but there's ways that you can make it look a lot more built-in. And we have some people that just build, like we build a cavity and they just roll their grill into it.
Okay. So what about ideas, Cheryl? If somebody has a space outdoors and they just need some ideas, what's the best place for them to look to get design ideas of what they want? Where would be a good place for them to look?
They can look on, just put in outdoor kitchens and Google. You can find them everywhere. They're welcome to go to our website. Our website doesn't have that many pictures on it, but it does have quite a few. The IBD Outdoor Room web or Facebook page has quite a few islands. We keep those posted. There's infinite numbers. The main thing, don't get so confused with all the pictures, and don't think yours has to be just like that. You can have anything you want. Just go there, search out ideas. And a lot of times I'll have a customer send me 8 or 10 pictures and they say, I like stuff in all of these. What can I do? And I asked them, okay, what do you like in this one? What do you like in that one? And they tell me, and then we make a grill island like they want instead of like somebody else had. But go there, just the internet's a super way. Used to, we had to tell people to get out and ride around and look at them. Now you can go about anywhere and see outdoor kitchens.
Okay, don't you have a Facebook page with a lot of consumers and fire and island builders around the country that people can go to? How do they find that Facebook page that has a lot of islands posted where people will post them because they're really proud of what they built? So what's that Facebook group?
It's outdoor. Let me get the exact name and it'll be a lot easier for them to find. It is called Outdoor Kitchen and Living Areas. And
Okay.
it is a private group. But if they, when they come into it, if they will just sign up for it, we'll hook them up and they can see. Like I say, we have over 7,000 people in there now. And it works out, or 17,000, excuse me. And they're out from all over the world. So you have the availability to see a lot of things.
Okay. So condensing our whole show down to a couple thoughts. Whatever someone wants in their backyard, if they have the space for it, they can do this. Am I correct?
If you want it, you can have it.
Okay. And then as far as grills, they can have a charcoal grill. They can have a gas grill. They can have a pellet grill. They can have electric grills. They can have Kamado grills. They can have all kinds of grills in this outdoor kitchen. Am I right?
You can have anything you want. That's the thing about outdoors. You can have anything you want. You make it what you want. Don't make it what everybody else wants. Make it what you want. Make it what you feel like you want to live in. I mean, it's just, you can go out there again many, many months out of the year and you can grill, you can do whatever you want. It's hard to say. The thoughts are, make it for yourself. And if you've got a lot of friends, make it huge for a lot of friends.
Okay. So what about these guys that love beer? Okay. What can a beer drinker get? I know he can put beer in that refrigerator, but what else can he do if we got a true beer lover? What does he want in his outdoor kitchen, Cheryl?
Well, he doesn't really need an ice maker, but you can put cooler drawers in, you can put your refrigerators, you can have beer taps. Beer taps is top. Right now they've got 3-point beer taps you can put in. If you're a beer drinker, an outdoor island's for you.
So that uses a keg in it. You actually roll the keg right into there and you got pressurized. So you just hit the tap and you've got draft beer sitting right there in it, right?
You got your own beer room.
Right. Then you also said earlier, you talked about something called a Margarita Station. What's a Margarita Station? What all we got there?
You've got little ice bins, you've got condiment sections, you've got lights up above it, you've got places for your glasses, you've got a blender in there. Literally, you have a margarita station.
I got it. Now, another kind of grill that's pretty popular is the flat top grills. I mean, you got different ones like Blackstone, you got Evos, you got Gentex. There's different flat top grills. Is flat top grill something that people want? And when we say a flat top grill, that's going to be like a great big flat surface for cooking pancakes, whatever. Is that a big thing that goes in outdoor kitchens, is a flat top grill?
Actually, it's getting more and more than it ever was, because people like the Chinese way of cooking where they flip the food around. I mean, it makes a good show.
Look,
But
we got Lynn's in us now. We said Margarita, so she chimed up on Margarita.
I get somebody on margaritas all the time. So, but yeah, there's infinite. There's also griddles out there now that they're flat tops, but they're smaller. They also make wood. Well, I'm gonna call this one a pizza oven. It's a pizza oven or a grit or a built the same, but it sits on top in a little cavity in your grill, so you don't have to have the huge standalone. There's just so much out there. Yeah, Lynn, the Mongolian grill.
Okay.
So there's anything, again, basically anything you can have in your house, you can have outside.
Okay, so here's your next one, Cheryl. What about when it gets cold? Can you heat an outdoor kitchen?
Yeah, we've put fireplaces in outdoor kitchens before. You can actually close them in with the outdoor curtains if you like. You can if you've got a roof system. I don't know about you, but when I grill, the kitchen gets warm anyway. But yeah, there's heat produced the whole time. But you can put, like I say, you can put fireplaces in there. A wood-fired oven is a super heater. Not only does it cook, it's like a fireplace.
Okay. What about televisions? Do people put televisions in their outdoor kitchens?
Way more than I can think of. To me, I like the outside, not to have to watch TV. But again, as most people know, I'm not a football freak. Sorry if that offends anybody. But TVs, in a lot of them, they have retractable TVs that go down into your cabinetry. Most people just hang them up nowadays. They've got weatherproof ones out there now.
Okay. And then I'm presuming you can have a sound system put in, stereo system, Bluetooth, all of these different things, controlling the grills, all that kind of stuff. Would that be true?
You can have all that. They have beds that you can put outside now. They have outdoor swings that are made to attach to the areas here, but literally you can form out of the same thing that we do now. We can actually build a bed with a canopy top on it, and then you use outside mattresses. So you can live outside. I mean, we've gone the 360. That's how the caveman did. They lived outside. And honestly, if you had the right temperatures nowadays, you could live outside. You could have any showers. We see a lot of showers going in nowadays. So anything you want out there,
Okay.
can be done.
Well, here's the whole thing. Cheryl, can people reach out to you at that email address?
Please do.
Does it take days for you to answer an email? You one of those people that just don't get around to answering emails?
No, I really try to answer it. If I haven't answered you within 24 hours, the email gods have it. If that's
okay. Now, will you sometimes assign that out to one of the designers? Give me a name of a designer that if someone contacts you, they may be following up with someone else. Who's in charge of your design department that would do that besides you, Cheryl?
Lori will be my next step down. So a lot of times you'll see, if you send me anything, a lot of times it'll come back from Lori, because she's in charge of that department to keep it all straight. We actually all work together, but a lot of times the emails will come from her, and hers is the same as mine, but it's LORI at IBD Outdoor, IBDODR.
Okay, so We really appreciate you joining us tonight here on the Fireplace Show. We hope this has been some useful information to you. If you've listened to this and it's of value to you, would you consider sharing this where others? Our entire purpose in doing this is to get safety out, to get design ideas, to alert consumers of what they can do safely and do it where it meets their dreams. I believe, Sheryl, you used to have a logo. You used to have a saying that said you were turning backyard dreams into backyard realities. Do you still do that?
I do. And I also, the other one's living without walls.
Okay, there you go. So Lee Gash says, thank you guys. And we really appreciate you being here, Lee. We appreciate everyone else reaching out to us, asking the questions. Feel free to reach out to Sheryl there. Her website is, again, IBDODR.com. That stands for Innovative Backyard Designs. Am I correct, Sheryl?
Yes. Innovative Backyard Design Outdoor Room.
There you go. So appreciate you joining us. Feel free to share this, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of The Fireplace Show. We try to produce this once a week in a way to share helpful information with consumers across America. So appreciate you joining us. We'll see you in the future on a future episode of The Fireplace Show. Thanks for being here. It's truly an honor. It's a pleasure, and it's a privilege to be able to present this for you in this